Welcome back to Feeding Power Podcast. Today we have a very special guest. One, she's a woman, and she has a very unique name. So I don't even know. Joanna, introduce her to us.
Oh, I thought, okay.
I want to see how you pronounce her last name.
And if you guys mess it up, I promise I'll say it correctly.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming back on Season 3. We have today a very, very special guest. A lot of you probably already know her from the Entrepreneur Conference. So today we have Rhonda, Klch.
Oh, my God.
You said it perfect.
You did it perfect.
Joanna for the win.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you so much for being here today. So we're going to start with you doing that little intro of who you are and what you do.
Sure. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Rhonda Klch. And for the last 25 years, I've specialized in working with consumers and small businesses that have financial disruption. So I'm the person that you call when you're trying to figure out how to get your life on track, or for somebody like yourself in the mortgage industry, clients that may contact you, they want to buy a home, but they're not yet financially prepared, or maybe they have a credit problem. We're the problem solvers.
Problem solvers.
Yep, that's what we do. So my company is Equity First. And again, a little bit more than 25 years now, that's been my specialty.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, so now we know. So you work with people with no FICO score, no credit, and then you build them up into.
We could start with no score, bad score, somebody that just filed bankruptcy, people that are in foreclosure, student loan problems, child support issues, foreclosure issues. It's not just myself. I have a team of professionals that work with us as well. If somebody's in foreclosure, we have in-house counsel. They do exit plans, strategy, short sales, loss mitigation.
They do it all.
Yeah, they do it all. That's perfect. So, and then Rhonda, I'm sorry to cut you off, Joanna. She just got me too excited. Rhonda, so now that you said all that, right? So foreclosures, credit. So before we even get into like more deep questions, why did you even get into that specific, like, you know,
Like,
thing?
how did I get into my niche?
Yeah,
Specific thing?
correct.
I think she said like
Yeah.
20
Yeah,
things.
well,
How did you get into
They're all related.
Well, yeah, because they're all related,
all
but they're
related.
like, so they're involved in real estate and mortgages in some way or another, but they're like the dark side type thing. You know?
It is. We are the people that handle the problems that
Yeah.
nobody wants to speak about,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
So my journey, I think that's really where you're going. Like, where did I start? So I have a unique background, which you guys may have heard before. So I actually was a very young entrepreneur. I opened up my first business when I was 18. Wow. By the time I was 23, I was already buying and selling real estate.
Nice.
And my attorney at the time said, hey, you know, you're buying, you're selling, you're young, you have energy. Have you ever thought about getting involved in the mortgage industry? So, and you'll enjoy this. So this is now, just to kind of date myself, this is 1996.
Wow.
Okay, just to give you an idea. And in 1996,
You weren't even born yet.
I know, yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, I wasn't. She
So-
was born, but I wasn't.
So in 1996, the mortgage industry was not what we are, experiencing today. There really was no subprime. You had FHA, you had conventional, a few products, and that was really it. So I was 23 years old, maybe 100 pounds soaking wet, and I was running around in a very male-dominated industry. So when I met my mentor, who I was introduced to through my attorney, he goes, I have to be honest, I have absolutely no idea what to do with you.
Yeah.
But no's not an option for me. I am more of a person that enjoys the challenge. So I got involved in the industry, and what I landed up doing is walking in just like anybody else would, right? You're in the mortgage industry.
Yep.
You walk in, my name is, and I would go into all the different real estate companies and say, I know you work with Billy, and you're working with John, and you work with Joe, and you work with Pete. But guess what? When they decline your client, I want the opportunity to see what I can do. So when the people that already had the established relationships said no, what would it be to you as a realtor to then give me the opportunity if Joanna said no?
Correct.
So I built my entire business at that point in time on the declines of my competitors.
Wow.
And I fact found and I investigated and we handheld and we problem solved. And that's how I got involved in my industry.
Wow.
And then the subprime market hit. And at that particular point, I decided to incorporate. So Equity First was officially born in October 2004.
Wow. So we're in October, so you're now.
So I got out of the mortgage industry, right? But I was so passionate about helping people that today all of my centers of influence, like we spoke about, are people that are still from the industry.
Wow.
The realtors, the mortgage, the
100%.
title, the bankers, the attorneys. Those are my centers of influence. I love the problem solving.
You're the light at the end of the tunnel.
I try.
Now, when you started, it was funded in October 2004. Did you have a business partner or did you start by yourself?
My partner to this day is my husband.
Wow.
He's my partner in pretty much everything that we do, which I know sounds so sweet and so cute. I've tried to have partners, but the problem becomes, and I'm a worker bee. And, you know, you always hear about that 80-20 rule. I'm always the 80. So if I'm going to do the work, I want to put in the risk and the reward. And I don't want to share that with anybody. And I know that sounds selfish. So at least if I keep it tight, you know, it's myself and my husband
100%.
in probably 90-95% of the work that we do.
Oh, wow. That is something new I didn't know. Now, you do mention that you did start it with investing in real estate, and I know you still do the investing
I do.
at this point. So if you can just share a little bit about that and what got you into investing in real estate and why you're still doing it to this day.
And you said, just sorry to cut you off as well.
Second time, strike two.
So you said you started investing at what age?
I was 23.
Okay, so I'm beating you.
Well, I'm happy you're beating me. I love energy.
So, and I actually all this is why we do the podcast, because it's just like if you did it at such a young age, and you know there's probably other people out there who are probably 20, 21, 22, 23, and they probably they don't have the tools. So now we can connect them with you, Rhonda.
Sure.
We can show them how to fix their credit, how to manage their money correctly, so by the time they're 22, 23, they can start making the right investments.
Which again, my older children are 23 and 25, and they invest all the time.
Okay, yeah.
So
and you find them the property, or what? Like
they actually invest in, believe it or not, stocks and crypto.
Okay.
They want to get involved in real
Yeah.
estate, but I am a little nervous for them.
Why?
Right now. I love having projects that have a very specific, end. When you're looking at buying a property for investment, you really need to understand what your end game is. So with the volatility of the market and during COVID, having the construction costs, most of my projects right now have just been assignments. Normally what I'll do is I will have real estate rental, but I will be the first to tell you that COVID has been hell.
Yeah.
I
know.
My tenants just love, being able to hide behind the fact that there was a moratorium.
100%.
So right now, everything that I've been doing lately has been just assigning the contract.
Yeah.
I see. So you feel like it's a little bit too shaky right now for them, but eventually you'll allow them. Well, not allow them, because they can. I'm sure they can do what they want to, but eventually you'll feel safer for them to take that risk in real estate.
I think what happens, not just with my kids, but with somebody who's young and learning, is you really have to dedicate the time.
Gotcha.
So it sounds really sexy to say, oh, I have real estate, I buy houses, right?
Yeah.
So it sounds sexy, but what people don't understand is all the risk that goes behind it and
Correct.
the time. So if my children want to get involved, they really want to do rental. But with a good rental might come a good rehab.
Yeah.
With the rehab becomes the cost involved.
100%.
And then it's your holding time.
Yeah.
So it's really understanding when you're looking at a property what your overall budget and timeline and expectation may be for that particular project.
But I also think like risk is good, because there's good risk and there's bad risk, right?
Yep.
So sometimes you have to take that risk in order for you to flip it around and kind of learn too, because so like last year during COVID, I bought my first rental property, right? So a lot of people would say, Louis, like, you're stupid, you don't do that, because it's, especially during the time we were. One, it was during the pandemic, and two, I was 19 years old. So when I bought that property, it was like, for me, it was like, wow, like I just did that. Now I'm like, how do like I didn't even know what to do next, right? But at the end of the day, like I took.
Now you do. You call me.
Yeah, exactly. So now it's like you said though. Sometimes like yes, there's like the holding. There's a lot of things that there's like people don't.
But here's the difference. Somebody
Mm-hmm.
like yourself
Yeah.
at 19 years old,
Yeah.
do you live at home with your parents?
Well, yeah. So correct. So
you have different liabilities.
100%.
My children are in a position right now because they still reside with me. They have different liabilities.
Gotcha.
It allows you to take a bigger risk
100%.
because you can fall back on the fact that you have family.
Correct.
When I'm speaking with people that are in their mid 30s, they're married, they have children, their risk assessment really needs to be analyzed because it's no longer about you.
Yeah.
It's about the entire family
100%.
and what will happen to that family if that particular investment
100%.
fails.
There isn't that cushion there for them to
Yeah.
bounce. It's just like you hit
When
the
clients
floor.
come to me for consulting,
Yeah.
especially in real estate, I have to make sure that they plan ahead. Most of the times people will look at something and they're like, oh my God, this is going to be great. I'm going to get this much for rent and I have this and I have this. But they're not looking at, all the factors.
Correct.
Right? So when I'm speaking to somebody, especially about real estate investing, just use that as an example. Some people will say, I'm really happy if I could net $300 a month, right? I mean, like, I don't know how personal you want to get.
Yeah.
What do you net a month on your property?
Right now, passive 800.
So you're netting $800
Yeah.
a month. Okay. And I don't know how much your house costs, but I have clients that use $800 a month for Long Island. That may have been a 2-family home that they had to buy, and that purchase price may have been $400,000. Well, I can go into a different area, which is what I do.
Yeah.
I will purchase in other areas. I'll net $500 a month per property, but my overall investment might only be $25,000 to $50,000.
Yeah.
So I could buy multiple properties,
Yep.
diversify my risk,
100%.
and make more money for the same amount that you went in with.
Correct.
So it's just understanding.
Everyone should be taking notes.
So it's just, again, understanding. Now there's pros and cons to that.
100%.
Because
I agree.
I'm not local. I have to have people that are available to assist me. We have to sometimes find contractors and other professionals to assist if there's a problem. It's not like it's around the corner or I'm running to another township. So you have to weigh out the pros and cons
100%.
and make sure that makes sense.
So you I guess invest in all parts of the country then, right?
Predominantly New York and Florida.
New York and Florida. Okay.
It's one of the
perfect.
best, most
Yeah.
entertaining states.
Yeah.
Now, I have a question for you, Rhonda.
Sure.
When it comes to financial consulting and it comes to repairing credit, what would you say makes you different from all these other companies that are out there promising solutions to everyone?
So if we're talking specifically about credit, if you go onto Instagram or Facebook, you have all these sponsored ads. Subscribe here, click here, watch my channel. It's very automated, right? So we are the good old fashioned, I call it credit and financial solutions.
Yeah.
Somebody refers us a client, they're handheld, they're spoken with, they get a phone call once a week, they get an email update once a week. We're not automated. In addition to the fact that there are other companies out there, if you go on and say, I have a credit problem, you can join, I don't want to say any companies and get myself in trouble, but there are companies, we'll call it Company X. So Company X says, subscribe here, it's $89 a month.
Yeah.
They're not analyzing and identifying exactly what your credit problem is. Credit repair companies only work on repairing the credit, which is utilizing what is available legally through the laws. As a consulting company, what makes us different is that if a client has a credit issue, a money management issue, they may have collections, they may have lack of credit, high utilization. When somebody comes to us, we're actually analyzing the entire credit report and we're fact-finding with the client to finding the best solution.
So you're not just a credit monitor.
No, not at all. So there's no subscribe here.
Yeah.
I know even at the conference,
Yeah.
I made it a point to say my biggest headache in my industry
Yep.
is needing to justify what makes us who we are,
Yeah.
because so many other companies out there, they survive on $89 a month. But if they bring in thousands of subscribers,
Yeah.
they're making great money.
Yeah.
They're not looking at the individual. All of our business is referral business,
100%.
right? All through referral partners. We don't do any marketing, no advertising, no promotion, because we want to know that if you refer me a client and it was your listing and you're doing the mortgage, we're all in this together and we all want to achieve results together.
Wow.
Right? So it's more personalized. And again, we're more strategy, more action plan. And we also work off of our model, which is what I call time value of money. The faster I can get it done, the faster you can turn your client around, the better it is for all of us.
Yeah,
So your service is more personalized.
Very personalized, and our goal is to get the client in, serviced, happy, and ready for purchase, right? Generally within 30 to 45 days, that's our standard turnaround time. The other companies that are out there that are charging subscription fees for $89, $109, there's no actual game plan in mind for them to end service, because ending service cuts off their food chain.
Wow. And let me ask you another question. So do you guys still service a client after they buy their house already? Because most of the time, like people will do is like they'll just worry about, you know, their credit. Oh, because I need to buy a house. And then once they have the house, they go on a shopping spree, start getting car loans, and there's all this other crazy stuff. So you guys still like, you know, help manage them in that?
If a client is having, you know, spending issues,
Yeah.
those aren't really credit issues, those are spending issues. Normally we will get a phone call, you know, that will say something along the lines of, I bought a house, I got in a little too deep, we decided to put in the pool, I needed the fence because my wife needed the dog, and, you know, and the next thing you know, they have large credit card bills.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's
The dog
usually
needed
not a
toys.
credit problem
Yeah.
that we would get after somebody buys. It's usually a debt problem. And if it's a debt problem, then by all means, they can give us a call back. Clients, every client that comes to us, whether it's a new client or an existing client, always has the opportunity to call and speak to any one of our consultants that will guide them to really what's the best option for them.
Gotcha.
Is there a limit that you have when it comes to nurturing a client? Let's say, for example, as a loan originator, sometimes I have to give them the whole guidance and prepare them for 2 years for them to be ready. Does that happen in your case as well?
If somebody has a lot of debt, that will happen, because there are times that paying the debt is a necessity in order for them to qualify for the mortgage, whether it be from a debt to income ratio perspective, whether it be something that might be in collection. So if we have a client who has a lot of debt and a lot of collections, they may not be ready within that standard 30 to 45 days if they don't have the budget.
Correct.
So then what we'll do with a client is we will put them onto a budget. We do not, and I say it again, we do not hold client funds ever.
No.
We believe in allowing the client to be accountable to their own plan. So we will monitor their success, make sure that they're putting money away. We call it the kitty. So we'll make sure that they're putting money away in the kitty every month, so that as they build money into their own personal account, we can then help them to settle any collection accounts and work towards achieving an overall better budget, which again is necessary for them to buy. Also, we do that in reference to people who know that they're making good money, but they can't figure out why they can't save for a down payment.
And giving them the right knowledge and guidance when it comes to their finances, it's going to help them in the long term. Not just fixing their credit right now. Let's get the balance down. Let's take care of the collections, and then off you go. You're guiding them, like you mentioned. It's spending problems. It's their habits on how they manage their finances.
Most people don't wake up and decide they want to have bad credit. There's usually been some sort of a hiccup or disturbance,
100%.
a divorce, a disability, a job loss, taking care of a parent, taking care of a child. Something happened. They just didn't wake up and say,
This is it. Now, we do know that you're also a radio show host for the Long Island New Radio. So if you can just share with us where we can find you, or where we can see and hear you,
Sure.
and what's the main purpose of the radio, and when did it start?
Sure. So I am the host of the Credit Authority. It's
Okay.
on Long Island News Radio, which is 103.9, or you can go to linewsradio.com and you can find me there. Also, I am on Facebook, Instagram, as well as YouTube. You can see some of our episodes.
Awesome.
And the purpose of the show is really to bring on industry professionals that can talk about what's happening in the market to support, just like you're doing, to support and bring awareness. Sometimes it's about awareness or what's
100%.
happening in the market, all surrounding, my industry, which is of course, credit and finance.
Nice.
I love
and
it.
then Rhonda, so I know you're gonna say yes already, but I'm gonna ask you this. I know you love what you do, so usually like we always ask for an advice. I mean, you have a lot of advices you can give, right? But what would you say? Give us two advices. One for people starting in the business, just like credit or finances or even in real estate investing. What would you say your best advice would be for them?
So I think if somebody is just starting out in the industry,
Yeah.
and you've probably heard me say this before, be you. So if you are going to be a new realtor or you're going to get involved in mortgage or any other part of the industry, my best advice is don't pretend to be anybody that you're not. It's fine to be you. And then find other like-minded people that are growing at the same time as you're growing so that you could build your business together. And that's how you'll build your network. Somebody like myself, right, who's clearly old enough to be your mom, I say this even to my own kids, it's okay for you to have your own experiences and ask questions. I respect you a lot more when you are true to who you are and not pretending to be somebody that you haven't achieved that level of success yet.
Correct.
And then trying to keep up with that persona that you're trying to make up of like, this is who I am, and then it's gonna show eventually.
The other piece of advice that I give people is sometimes people love to tell everybody everything that's happening in their life.
Yeah.
Nobody really cares, right? Pick and choose what you want to share with people that are in your circle, right?
100%.
Because you don't want to be judged unfairly for anything else that's happening. There are a lot of people out there that share too much information, whether it be through social media or if they're in a networking group or they're out and about, in a business environment. Be selective of what you share with people until you really get to trust them and know who they are.
Wow.
Love those advices. So thank you so much, Rhonda. Is there anything that we didn't ask or we didn't touch? We actually had a few questions here, and the way you answer, it's perfectly answered
you kind of
everything.
answered all the questions without us
You're a
asking them.
professional on this. So is there anything that you would like to mention that we didn't mention?
No, nothing that I can think of other than that. Obviously, if anybody is watching that has any credit and financial concerns, all of our consultations are private. They are free. We love to make sure that the people that need the information get the information.
And then one more question for our viewers, right? I know you're not going to tell me the price, but so usually do you have like payment plans that you guys
For service?
Yeah, for service.
Sure. So all of our action plans are free. An action plan is what happens after we sit with a client and we assess exactly what is going on.
Okay.
Then when we break down exactly what the service will be, if a client needs a payment plan, the answer would be yes. Our fees generally range between $500 and $1,000.
Okay.
And I'm okay with saying that because if you actually go and look at what other companies are charging, they charge $2,500 with no guarantees. They are charging thousands and thousands of dollars that are not necessary. I've been doing this a long time. I know exactly how to get in and get out and create the result. And there's no reason that a client should have to pay for somebody else's inability to do it in an effective time.
Well, now we know. So Joanna and I are definitely going to be sending you over some of our clients.
Thank you so much again for being here with us. Thank you everyone for watching another episode in season 3. It just gets better and better. Thank you so much, Rhonda.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.